Michael S. says, Michael S., were the biological ages of the patriarchs from Adam to Noah congruent with their chronological ages? At 900 years old, were they biologically 90? And how long did they spend in childhood, do you think? So, Michael, this is a really interesting question, and I can't honestly give you the answer. Let me explain it to anybody who doesn't understand from the brief question here what you were getting at. You're like suggesting, hey, if we take these long ages as literal in Genesis, and we have, like, say, Melchizedek, who lived to be 969, I think is the date. At what point in that 969 years of life was he an adult? Was he like did he hit puberty at like 12 or 13? And then in his 20s, he was like us in his 20s. And then like he kind of stayed 20-ish or 30-ish? Or was it his adulthood that was stretched out? Was he like a really old man for 300 years? Or how did this work? And the answer that I have is I don't know. I find this topic full of question marks for me. This whole stuff is full of question marks for me that I personally don't have answers to. But there's one hint that we have in the genealogies, and that is the ages of the kids when they're born, when they have kids, the ages of the parents when the children are born. Let's look at a few of the verses there and see if it gives you a clue. Aside from the debates about the ages and the chronology and the age of all that, we're asking Michael's question here. So when Adam lived 130 years, he fathered a son in his own likeness, and that's Seth. Now we know Adam and Eve had 2 kids at least before that, possibly a lot more. It's possibly that there was Adam, or there was Cain and Abel, and then maybe lots of other kids. And then Cain killed Abel, and the next son born was Seth. That's also possible as well. So he was 130, though. That's pretty old. When Seth had lived 105 years, he fathered Enosh. Does that mean that Enosh was the firstborn of Seth? I don't know. I just know he had a kid named Enosh, and that's the one that the genealogy follows. Then Enosh, he lived 90 years. He fathered Kenan. That would imply you're living pretty old before you're having kids. If you take these as 90 years that we understand years the same today, and not some people think kind of a numbers game is happening here, and you should divide it by 6 or something like that. I won't get into all that. When Kenan lived 70 years, he had Mahalalel. Mahalalelujah. And when he lived 65 years, he had Jared. 65. So they are pretty old, but they're not all like that. So if you keep going down, let me see. Enoch, 65 years. Methuselah, 187 years. Lamech. Then Lamech lived 182 years. And you'll have to pick up the genealogies more after that. So I think there's some other genealogies. Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head. So let me just say this. At least the possibility is there that they were living longer before having their initial kids. The problems with this view are, one, we don't know if these kids that are being named were their firstborn. For instance, when Adam had Seth, we know for sure it was not his firstborn. And he's in the genealogy in a very similar way as all the other names are in the genealogy. So we don't know that. Then there's debates on whether these numbers are meant to be taken literally or not, which I'm not taking sides on because I haven't even gotten into those debates.